I have worked with so many women who go through painful and uncomfortable relationships, all because they haven't set boundaries. When you set boundaries in your relationship, it shows that you're worth it. It shows you respect yourself. It shows that you value yourself. And it tells whoever you're going out with, your partner who you're dating, to respect you. It shows them that you respect you. It shows them that how to treat you. If you don't have boundaries, then whoever you're going out with can treat you as a doormat. You find yourself settling. I know that's not what you want. But I tell you, when you set boundaries, you're able to vet who you're in relationship with. You will know a guy is committed to you. You will know a guy that wants to fight for you. You will know a guy that wants to provide, that wants to protect you, that wants to profess their love. Because they'll be fully invested in the relationship. They'll be committed to you. Because you've told them what you are available to accept and what you're not available to accept. You've drawn the line. So, boundaries are key in your relationship. So, how do I begin to set these boundaries? Yes, I'm here to give you some ways. I've got 5 ways you can begin to set the boundary in your relationship. One will be to know your real value. When you know your real value, it means you know who you are. You value yourself. You know you are worth it. You know what you stand for. You know your standard. I know that sometimes life experiences, maybe what you faced in life, makes you unable to know who you are or know that you're valuable. I don't want you to blame yourself for it. Because when you don't know what you're worth, how would you now begin to tell somebody you're in a relationship with how they should treat you? Of course, you won't know. You find yourself compromising. You find yourself settling. And that's not what you want. So to start knowing your value, you begin by, first of all, begin to do things good for you. This comes with respect to self-care. Self-care, looking after you, giving you me time, looking after your sleep, you're eating well, drinking lots of water, pampering yourself, getting yourself out of stressful situations, looking after you. Be passionate about looking after you, doing things for you that's important to you. That begins to tell you how valuable you are. Begins to tell you that you matter. Another way will be to keep your commitment to you. By that I mean, when you say you're going to do something for you, follow it through. Do it. Because when you say you're going to do something for you and you end up not doing it, you're telling yourself you don't matter. But when you actually say you're going to do something for you and you do it, it fills you with so much confidence. And you begin to grow that respect for you because you follow through. So, in your lists of doing things for others, Add your name to your list of doing something for you. And another way to show your true value, to begin to value you, is standing up for you. You need to stand up for you. Speak up more. Tell people what you want, what you need. Tell people what you're not happy about. Speak up. Express yourself. Don't go spending time and energy wanting to earn somebody's love, because you deserve love. You deserve to belong. You deserve to be listened to. You deserve to be cared for. Know that, and also know that you are always good enough. Begin to do these things, and you find yourself valuing yourself more. Second tip will be, have open communication. You know, when you start your relationships, sometimes we get carried away because we're in love and you forget to set boundaries. But I'm here to say that setting your boundaries should start as early as when you start your relationship, when it's still in its infancy. That's the best time to set it. Because when you are deep into the relationship, it becomes more difficult. Don't say, oh, it's uncomfortable setting this boundary. It's uncomfortable having this conversation. Oh yeah, it could be uncomfortable. It could cause some conflict. Sometimes conflict is good if it gives you the result you need. I'm not talking about constant conflict or abusive relationship that creates conflicts. I'm talking about when you want to be open up, when you want to express your need, when you want to speak up on what you are available for and what you are not available for. Be clear about it and talk about it, so that whoever your partner, whoever you're in relationship with, knows exactly what you stand for and what you don't stand for. Make it clear. Don't beat about the bush on that, because it will help you in your relationship. Another tip will be to explain, not express. You know, as women, we like to express. We're very expressive. And sometimes expressing ourselves, we go into reaction mode. And sometimes say things that we rather not say. And you know, when you say those things, you can't unsay them. And for guys, they are more logical than emotional. So if there's an issue, if somebody has crossed your boundary, explain how they've crossed that boundary. Explain how you're feeling. Explain the result of it. When you explain, is that whoever you're talking to is in a better position to listen. So for example, you're upset about a boundary being crossed. Take a breather. Give yourself time to calm down. Breathe. Have that pause. And then you will find yourself responding instead of reacting. And you will come across clearer. And the guy will be able to listen because you're explaining something that happened that you didn't quite like, that crossed your boundary, and why you feel you don't want that to happen again. The guy is bound to listen. So begin to do that today, to explain from a point of responding, not reacting. Another tip will be to enforce your boundary. You know, you've set this boundary, you need to enforce it. Because, for example, somebody has crossed your boundary and you're upset about it. And you say, anyway, it doesn't matter, it's okay. That means it doesn't matter. that means you're telling the person you can do that again. You're telling the person you don't matter. But when you know you've set a boundary, stick to enforcing it. Hold the person accountable. So, for example, your guy says, you tell your guy, oh, call me tonight so we can talk about our date. And he doesn't call you, and he calls you 2 days later. And when he calls you, he says, get ready, we're going out. And you feel, oh, that's okay. But you know it's not, because he hasn't actually followed through with what you said. So you now can tell him, call me and we can talk about it, instead of jumping up and just going out when you know he didn't call 2 days ago. If you don't want to be treated as a doormat, set your boundary, enforce it, hold the person accountable. Because when you do that, they take you seriously. Because next time you say, call me later in the evening, he will call. He won't leave it 2 days later before he calls you. So you've set the boundary. I know enforcing boundary can be uncomfortable. It can create conflict. But it's rather to do it now than not do it at all. So begin to do that. Another one will be accountable. This is being accountable to you, to yourself. Let somebody hold you accountable. For example, I find women, their guy has done something that crossed the boundary, and they begin to make excuses. Why make excuses when you know your boundary has been crossed? But if you have a trusted friend or a group that holds you accountable, that knows your boundary, knows you've set it, then they can call you and say, come on, what he did wasn't right. Remember, you said this can't happen and it's just happened. What are you going to do about it? That's holding you accountable. Then you'll see yourself following through. And also, sometimes you could set boundary that is unrealistic. So when you have somebody that holds you accountable, the person can look at it and say, that boundary you set is actually unrealistic. And you can now look at it again to work on it. So holding yourself accountable is really essential in your boundary setting. I've mentioned these 5 tips. Begin to do them. And I know that setting boundary is uncomfortable, but to think about it this way, it's better earlier in the relationship to set it. Look at the long-term effect, not the short-term one. Because short-term, you're thinking, oh, it's uncomfortable, I don't want to do this. It's outside my comfort zone. But look at the long term, that when you do it now, you don't need to do it later. And your relationship will be so much better for it. So begin to enforce these boundaries, because you know you're valuable. You know you're worth it. Like my grandma always say, if you don't have boundaries, you give permission to somebody to disrespect you. But set the boundary so that when your boundaries are crossed, you can wave goodbye to whoever it is that disrespects a boundary, and you can move on. So, for videos like this, or you want me to do any others, let me know. Comment. I would like to hear from you. So like this page, comment, share, and I'll see you in my next video. Remember, you're worth it. You're enough and you matter. Take care of you. Bye.